Well, I just did a quick video about a bag of stuff I got from the resale shop, and I wanted actually to do a video about something I'm working on here. Um, it was in a couple of pictures, and it's been maybe in a video or two in the background. But this, within the last few days, this is where I have gotten with my latest speeder build. If you remember the Droids cartoon from the mid 80s, Thal Jobin and Jord Dusak, a couple of punk rockers in the deserts of Tatooine, had some speeders. They looked really cool. And then you find out they had this thing called the White Witch, which was even cooler looking. Now, this is not the White Witch, although it's White Witch inspired. These are juice containers that you can buy at Walmart. They got 6 little packets of powdery flavored lemonade, orange blast, iced tea, all kinds of lemonade, iced tea, and raspberry stuff. Juicy juice stuff, little powdery containers that come in these plastic things. So there's only 6 of them in there. They make a little over a gallon of water. No, not quite a gallon of flavored water. But I go through them like crazy because it's a lot healthier to drink the flavored water than it is soda pop. Consequently, I have gigantic stacks of these plastic containers. So I cut some of them down, and this is the end result of all the cutting and chopping. I was able to get the center of this toy. It's not really a toy, it's a model. So I was able to create almost like an X-Wing fuselage. Very much X-Wing fuselage-esque here. But I wanted to have multiple seating capacity where you can have a driver and a co-pilot and a couple people or more sitting in the back seat and a droid, and very much like those speeders from the Droids cartoons. I think if anything, I was embarrassed to say that I even watched them, but there was still some brilliance in them. Those speeders were freaking awesome. Voiceover acting was kind of silly. The cartoon itself and the illustration was kind of silly, very childish. Not very great cartoons. Voltron kicked its ass as far as detail and stuff like that, but it was still really cool to see those weird-looking dragster speeders. And I tried to make mine out of shampoo bottles and stuff in the 80s, and I failed miserably. I did not have the model making skills that I have today or the detailing skills to be able to just bash something like that out in a few days. I think it took me a couple of days to put the body together, and then I got to a point where I could stop, and then I started working on the engines, and then eventually reached a point where I could start putting the engines on, and that happened yesterday afternoon and actually just a little bit ago. On the bottom of this, there's some nice, you can see where there's lots of detail, things overlapping each other and connecting to each other. Much like Star Wars, it's only got to make a little bit of sense. But anyway, that's my Droids-inspired speeder. I'll get you into the cockpit here really quick. You can see I have not put any kind of console here. I just finished getting my front seat in, although if it's not glued in, it's actually very crude, and it's fine. The paint apps and the fine detail will get rid of a lot of the blemishes when I get finished with it. But the back seat's pretty much in place. It's dirty, but yeah, I made that out of a couple of pieces of plastic and heated some of it up, and this back seat assembly is, if you can see it, you might notice right there, that piece right there, it's like an iPad clip, part of an iPad clip from a microphone stand kind of thing. One of many pieces I didn't use, didn't need, and I decided to just use them for kit bashing, and there's one of them. Works really good there. And then, you guessed it, let's get our little droid in here. I like putting him in here backwards because it seems like he can service the engine better that way. See what I'm saying? And then, yeah, he's kind of in charge of making sure the engine keeps running and that they get good speed and that nobody sneaks up on them and blasts them in the tail. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, this little seat right here, that's the shape of it. And I wanted to have some room for the action figures who sit here on their feet to be able to slide under there so that they weren't crammed. And there we go. So this will fit like things like G.I. Joes, little G.I. Joes with the and Star Wars figures that are the vintage collection with the things that have the knees and elbows that bend. Some other ones that don't have the many points of articulation might not fit in here. But, yeah, there we go. I mean, to me, that looks very Star Wars-ish. And I'm probably going to come out with a little bit of some sort of a foil out front protruding out here. Maybe using another one of these for some detail. Just like a curved fin off the front of this on the left and right to give some sort of element of that Star Wars speeder bike steering mechanism. So there's our front. Looks like it just has a very nice look to it, and I think I could probably do some interesting animations with this in green screen if I really wanted to. Well, yeah, if I do slow, what's this look like? It does have an interesting look to it. Let's come out this way. Coming across there. Yeah, it does. It looks interesting on the camera. I'm watching the playback here as I'm doing this. Yeah. I think I want to get a turntable or something and kind of do a few film clips and try to do something with this. This and the other one. Maybe at some point pin them on a wire and get some film. What'd be really awesome is have a track to run them on. I don't know how long it would take me to build something like that, but as long as I have it in my head, maybe one of these days it'll happen. And then I could set a GoPro on there and film this thing going through the woods with people in it and, you know, probably getting attacked by one of my cats at some point or whatever. But that would be interesting. But enough of that. I just wanted to kind of show that off a little bit. I'd be working on the rest of it, but I'm out of super glue, so after dinner, I have to go get some super glue and some catnip for Shishai because she's out of catnip, and some catnip for me because I'm also out of catnip. But one more quick trip because I know you want to see it one more time. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty proud of it. More, almost all garbage. This is black plastic. It's like some of my spare sign making plastic that I have a big sheet of it. Way more than I actually needed for the project, but some pieces from a helicopter blade for the sidewalls of this little detail here. So that's the only piece that's like borrowed. I think outside of a couple oddball pieces of plastic here and there. This little detail for the engine back here. That came off of a toy, some Paw Patrol helicopter toy. It was the nose gun thing on it. So that, you know, so that's a kit bash, and that's a kit bash, and that's a kit bash. But this is scratch build. This is all this is all scratch build. This is all scratch build. from those containers. Obviously, if you have asthma, COPD, you recognize that. If you're diabetic, you might recognize that test strip container. Some probably a couple Advil bottles or allergy tablet bottles. And then my mom and dad get these prescriptions that they save all their bottles and give me, like, sometimes a big tubs full of pill bottles, and they all have this orange thing to close them up with, and you can actually close one bottle on top of another, like two pill bottles together with one of these caps. It's pretty wild. But it has so many of them, and they, to me, when I saw them, they reminded me of part of like an engine ring on a booster. So I got a couple of Y-wing projects I'm working on that have those as part of the detail. I thought they looked great for these booster engines that I'm building, and that's what I used for that particular machine, was that style booster. But however, since all this is smooth, and then when we get to this, we have smooth and somewhat smooth, we start getting into a lot of like more haphazard detail here. I do think I'm going to get some soft plastic from some round bottles of some kind, and build a shell of sort to somewhat cover up these and hide some of this detail, and maybe only show a little bit of it showing through, as opposed to having it be as naked as it is. As this is kind of supposed to be a little bit more of a hot rod, showy kind of machine, I kind of feel like that would be covered if you were going for looks, and aerodynamics. And if I did that, I could continue some of this design that I've created down the side. That this isn't permanent, just kind of an idea of what I might do. I like the stripe going over there and over there. There's a little bit of a speed racer thing to the White Witch. This what this is inspired by. So, yeah, it's just kind of my own take on it. What kind of stylistic pinstriping would, that kind of a vehicle have? So I'll probably take whatever that design ends up being and copy it back, but just give you an idea how many more things I have to do on it besides toning this down and making it a lot more smooth. Is I have to locate a box of these things, because these are going to end up being my booster caps back here. So if I can kind of hold one in place. So you can see where I'm going with that. I'll put that on there and make some cuts in that so that it's got some almost like a vented look to it. Or either that or superimpose it a little bit, maybe somehow. Maybe put a ring behind there, whatever. But yeah, and then that will be somewhat covered up a little bit where you won't see it until you turn around the back and you start to see more of it. Yeah, lots more to do on this. So I only working on it a little bit every couple of days. Like I said, after dinner, I gotta go score some more super glue and some other things from the old Walmart. So hopefully I'll finish putting my my canopy, cockpit, and all that stuff together. And yeah, I also have to make some roll cage type thing to kind of go over the canopy, and then it'll be like right up there with what it's supposed to be in that whole look and feel. So that's 15 minutes on my silly speeder out of garbage. Hopefully soon we'll start seeing some of this stuff get painted and completed. I have probably 50 speeders of various sizes, speeder bikes, land speeders, rail speeders, these kind of dragster speeders. There's like 2 or 3 of these right now in the process of being built. and so many other kit bashing projects that as they all start coming to a head, the last thing I'll have to do is like primer, paint app, and detail out, finalize a bunch of them one by one. And then hopefully we'll get into some diorama building after I have a volume of those. Right now I have a massive amount of me talking about the things that I'm in the process of building and you getting kind of a snapshot of what it is that I'm trying to create. But yet I don't have any super finished products really to show off outside a couple of droids that I've built. And they're just not enough to talk about, worth talking about. So I'll break one of those out when I finish one of these projects and put it all together. And then I'll have a lot to talk about, and it'll be finished, and you'll see what it is that I'm here in my shop doing in Kit Basher's land of, whatever we call it. In the meantime, may the glue be with you. Have a good time. Don't be afraid to tear some shit apart and make something else out of it. It's all in good fun. And, sometimes you can recycle some old garbage into something new. It's better than any other toy you ever had. Have fun.